गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापकाचार्य सेवियर द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4. This is a new chapter. This chapter is entitled The Appearance of Sri Narada. Text number 1. Vyasa vacha iti bruvanam samstuya iti bruvanam samstuya muninam dirgha satrinam muninam dirgha satrinam vruddha kulapatihi sutam vruddha kulapati sutam bhavrichaha shaunako abravit bhavricha shaunako bravit vyasa vacha vruddha kulapati sutam bhavricha shaunako bravit vyasa vacha iti bruvanam samstuya muninam dirghasatrina vruddha kulapati sutam bhavricha shaunako bravit vyasa vacha iti bruvanam samstuya muninam dirghasatrinam bhavati sutam bhavricha shaunako bravit vyasaha Vyasadeva vacha said iti thus bruvanam speaking samstuya congratulating munina of the great sages dirgha prolonged satrina of those engaged in the performance of sacrifice vruddha elderly kulapatihi head of the assembly sutam unto Suta Goswami bahu ruchaha learned Shaunakaha of the name Shaunaka abravit addressed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. On hearing Suta Goswami speak thus, Shaunaka Muni, who was the elderly, learned leader of all the rishis engaged in that prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Suta Goswami by addressing him as follows. Please repeat the translation. On hearing Suta Goswami speak thus, Shaunaka Muni, who was the elderly learned leader of all the rishis engaged in that prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Suta Goswami by addressing him as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In a meeting of learned men, when there are congratulations or addresses for the speaker, the qualifications of the congratulator should be as follows. He must be the leader of the house and an elderly man. He must be vastly learned also. Sri Shaunaka Rishi had all these qualifications. Sri Shaunaka Rishi had all these qualifications, and thus he stood up to congratulate Sri Suta Goswami when he expressed his desire to present Srimad Bhagavatam exactly as he heard it from Shukadeva Goswami and also realized it personally. Personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity means pride, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous acharya. And at the same time, he must realize the subject matter. He must realize subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. This is particularly given in italics by Prabhupada, very important. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it, yet it should be presented in an interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. This is called realization. The leader of the assembly, Shaunaka, could estimate the value of the speaker, Sri Suta Goswami, simply by his uttering Yathadhitam and Yathamati. And therefore, he was very glad to congratulate him in ecstasy. No learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original Acharya. So the speaker and the audience were bona fide in this meeting where Bhagavatam was being recited for the second time. That should be the standard of recitation of Bhagavatam, so that the real purpose can be served without difficulty. Unless this situation is created, Bhagavatam recitation for extraneous purposes is useless labor both for the speaker and for the audience. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauru Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Yat kripatamaham vande Paramananda Madhavam Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So new chapter, the appearance of Sri Narada. Vyasadeva is describing this specific event the spiritual conference of the sages of Naimisharanya. In that conference, they all decide to elect Suta Goswami as the president of that assembly. And on behalf of the assembled sages, Shaunaka Rishi, he is presenting the questions and he is receiving the replies, etc. Now, after Suta Goswami answered the 6 questions, he saw these sages are very eager to hear about Krishna. And therefore, what did he do? He decided to recite or narrate the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is exclusively describing Krishna. This is the reason why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls this Bhagavatam as Sri Krishna Samhita. What is the meaning of Sri Krishna Samhita? Samhita means Vedic literature. So this Bhagavatam is that Vedic literature which exclusively is describing Sri Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Bhagavad Gita is exclusively spoken by Krishna. And Bhagavatam is exclusively about Krishna. So both these literatures are very, 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 very important, especially in this age of Kali. So when Suta Goswami told the sages of Naimisharanya, I am now going to start narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam, then all the sages would have become very, very happy. They would have been very pleased. Dirgha Satrena, they are sitting there, they taken a sankalpa to perform a 1,000-year sacrifice. 1,000-year sacrifice. Now how can they perform 1,000-year sacrifice? So Prabhupada explains, the duration of life of a human being is different in different yugas. In Satya Yuga, the average duration of a human being's life on the earth planet was 100,000 years. 100,000 years. And therefore, the scriptures describe one Valmiki who compiled the Ramayana. He meditated for 60,000 years, 60. So people will dismiss that as mythology, because they think in terms of Kali Yuga, human beings, they live maximum 100 years. So how can somebody do meditation for 60,000 years? This is all mythology, not fact, not possible. But these foolish people do not know what is the reference of time. What is the reference of time? Because the history which is recorded in the Puranas and Itihasas is ancient history, and very, very ancient history. There's a difference between Itihasa and Purana, though both are histories. The common thing is both are historical narrations. But the difference between Puranas and Itihasas, Prabhupada explains elsewhere. Itihasa is ancient history. But Puranas is very, very ancient history. Just like Mahabharata, 5,000-year-old history. Ramayana, about 1,000,000 years old. Now, Puranas go back to that point in time before the creation, before even Brahma's birth. From the scriptures we understand Brahma has completed half his lifetime. Brahma lives, according to our time calculation, 311 trillion years. So Brahma's 150 trillion years is over. 155. So this longer time, historical incidents are described in the Puranas. That is first point of difference. Second point of difference is the Itihasa is specifically narration of a specific historical incident. Just like Ramayana, life of Rama. Mahabharata, the life of the Pandavas and Kauravas. Very specific. Whereas Puranas, they have 10 topics, specific topics. Mahapuranas have 10 topics and Upapuranas have 5 topics. Puranas, there are 3 kinds of Puranas. Are you aware of it? There is Mahapurana, there is Upapurana, and there is Sthala Purana. What is Mahapurana? The Srimad Bhagavatam, Padma Purana, Vishnu Purana, Garuda Purana. There are 18 Mahapuranas compiled by Sri Vyasadeva. 6 for people in the mode of goodness, 6 of them for people in the mode of passion, 6 of them for people in the mode of ignorance. Generally, people in the mode of ignorance are accustomed to eat meat. So in the Skanda Purana, which is meant for people in the mode of ignorance, there's a description that if they eat meat without making a sacrifice, they'll get sinful reactions, very severe sinful reactions. So to minimize the sinful reactions, they can't completely avoid sinful reactions if they eat meat even after performing sacrifice. But to minimize it and to restrict it, the Skanda Purana says, meat can be taken, may be taken, only after offering it in sacrifice to Kali. So only to Kali they can offer sacrifice, only a goat, only on Amavasya, means once a month, and the characteristics of the goat are elaborately described. So when I was in school, we had one lesson in Hindi that they were telling a story from the Puranas that one person who wanted to offer a goat in sacrifice, he went searching for a goat. So our understanding is maybe goats were not easily available in his village, or nobody was rearing goats, or very few people were having goats, rearing goats like that. But then the description goes on, he's searching and searching and searching amid so many goats. So we all were puzzled. What is this? He's searching for goats. What is the meaning of searching for a goat for a sacrifice? Later on, when Prabhupada explains Skanda Purana, how it restricts offering goat in sacrifice for the sake of eating meat, then I understood the goat's characteristics are mentioned. Even a horse sacrifice, the horse characteristics are mentioned. Not any horse you can take and simply offer. You can't do that. Now, fire sacrifice. What the ingredients to be offered in a particular sacrifice, fire sacrifice, is mentioned. We can't take simply some ghee, some grains, and some wood, and light the wood, and pour some ghee, pour some grains over. No. Certain sacrifices require gold to be offered. Certain sacrifices require specific wood to be used to light the fire. The wood of the jackfruit tree. There is one mantra in the Vedas called Arani mantra. Arani mantra is to light a fire before a sacrifice. A qualified Brahmana, if he chants that Arani mantra, simply by the power of chanting the mantra, a fire is generated and the wood is lighted. They light the wood to begin the sacrifice. Now we require some matchstick or some lighter, something like that. We don't have qualified Brahmanas who can chant the Arani mantra and generate fire. But even about how long back Akbar was ruling in India? 300 years? About 300, 350 years? Huh? Mughal Empire was? So Akbar was ruling about that time. Aurangzeb's time. So little later. Huh? Akbar was before Aurangzeb. 1556. 1550, if you take 500 plus another 400, say 450 years back. There was one musician in his court, Tansen. Tansen used to sing perfectly the ragas according to the rules of classical music. If he sang deep raga, fire would be generated and lamps would get lit up. Now these are all, people think these are all fairy tales, some mythology stories. No, it is recorded in history. He used to sing Megha raga. It will start raining. So just 450 years back, there were people who had that potency and power. But with Kali Yuga, the good qualities are deteriorating in human beings. And as Kali Yuga progresses, it deteriorates so much that their chanting of the Brahmanas towards the end of Kali Yuga will no potency at all. No potency. So, the point is that the scriptures describe the procedures very, very precisely. And we cannot just make an approximate, arrangement. We can't simply substitute and do these sacrifices, because if we substitute and do something, we will not get the desired result which is mentioned in the scriptures. Just like nowadays, this Gayatri mantra should be chanted by a duly qualified Brahmana. Supposing somebody is not qualified, still chants. They can chant, yes, but they will not get the benefit that is mentioned in the scriptures of chanting Gayatri mantra. What are the benefit of chanting Gayatri mantra? One realizes the impersonal Brahman feature of the absolute truth. It's not a small thing at all. It's a very, very, very big achievement. So simply somebody knows the mantra or hears the mantra or reads the mantra and then chants, will they get that? No, they won't get it. So the point is that why I am saying this is this people nowadays, they don't make an offering to Kali, or they do some so-called ritual of offering to Kali. They are not freed from the ghastly sin of animal killing. Even the sinful reaction is not minimized according to Shastra. If one properly offers sacrifice to Kali with the help of a qualified Brahmana who chants the correct mantras, then their sinful reaction is minimized to the least. Otherwise, they have to suffer severe reactions. Similarly, these sages, why I am saying this is these sages, they have assembled in a holy place. They are having a purpose for this sacrificial performance. What is it? That Kali Yuga is going to begin. And in Kali Yuga, there are so many defects of this age because which people will suffer from so many difficulties and problems and miseries. So they feel compassionate for the people of Kali. So they have organized this conference to discuss what are the remedial measures for people in Kali Yuga so that they can counteract the evil influence of Kali. Of course, material world means there has to be misery, but it can be minimized. It can be minimized. Like sometimes when some pain is there, a person who's suffering pain goes to the doctor will examine, and then he will diagnose, and he'll say, I'll give you some medicine, it will give you some relief, but it cannot help you get rid of the pain entirely. Sometimes it happens like that. Like that, the remedial measures they are seeking, it can minimize the influence of Kali. Because material world means you cannot totally avoid all miseries. Impossible. Except for devotees in full Krishna consciousness. They are completely immune to all miseries of this material existence because they are not situated on the material plane. They are transcendentally situated above the gunas. So the interaction of the gunas has no effect on their consciousness. It still will have effect on the body. Material body always, the three gunas are having effect in the material world. But their consciousness is unaffected by the gunas. Like Shiva, Gunatita. He is described, Gunatita. All pure devotees, acharyas, they are Gunatita. That's why Prabhupada, while he was traveling on board Jaladuta, he had 2 heart attacks. But he was just offering prayers to the Lord. And he continued his journey. I would have expected, after getting down from the ship in New York, because on board the ship there was no doctor, okay. Then he'll at least go to some doctor and consult, no? He never went to any doctor. He never even mentioned it to the captain who was supposed to take care of him, on the ship. Captain Pandya. Pandya didn't even know. Later on, some 2, 3, 4 years later, when Prabhupada was describing that he came from India on the order of his Guru. So the circumstances in which he traveled, some details he was describing. Then he just mentioned on the ship there was so much of seasickness and I had 2 heart attacks. Devotees are suddenly shocked. 2 heart attacks. They knew Prabhupada had a heart attack and a stroke 1 year after he started this ISKCON society in 1967. That they knew. So then they began to say, oh, so you got the 3rd heart attack in 1967. Yes, Prabhupada said yes. So, how is it that he tolerated? No, it's not just tolerating. It is also this devotional service is unaffected. Devotional service is unaffected. Therefore, Bhagavatam says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Pure devotional service has got characteristics that it is ahituki, it is unmotivated. There is no material motivation or material benefit that pure devotional service somebody aspires for. Neither it can be interrupted by any material obstacle. Does it mean that for somebody who is pure devotee and perform pure devotional service, there will be no material obstacles? There will be. Material world means material obstacles will be there for anything we do. Everything we do. But the pure devotee will continue to render pure devotional service in spite of the material obstacles. Because he is situated on the spiritual platform. That's described in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Brahma bhuta means a spirit soul who was conditioned has become self-realized. Realizes I am Brahman, I am spirit. And having realized the spiritual quality or nature of the self, I am not this body. He becomes completely aloof from the body and the mind. Prasannatma. As soon as you become aloof from the body and mind, prasannatma, become very joyful. Joyful. Immediate relief from all material miseries. Immediate relief. Instant relief. Na shochati na kankshati. No lamentation, no hankering. Because he knows I have nothing to do with this material benefits or loss of material benefits. Either wanting material benefit, that is kankshati, or shochati, lamenting the loss of material possessions or material wealth or material facilities. No. No lamentation, no hankering. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu, sees all living entities as spirit soul. Not only I am spirit soul, all living entities as spirit soul. They are simply covered by a material body and material mind. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu, sees equally all living entities as spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, spiritual beings. So, this is the spiritual platform. It's called Brahma Bhuta platform. And our present platform, where we are situated on the platform of 3 gunas, is called Jiva Bhuta platform. Jiva Bhuta is also described in the Bhagavad Gita. Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. Karshati means engage in a hard struggle with these 5 senses and the mind. Engage in a hard struggle. Manashashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani. And being placed in this material nature consisting of those 3 gunas, constantly these gunas are interacting and producing changes. And under illusion, some change we interpret as happiness, pleasurable, favorable for our senses. And some other changes we interpret as not favorable for our senses. It is cause of distress, misery, unhappiness, suffering. And this is all relative. Like for some people, their bodies got too much heat because they eat all these kinds of stuff which generates heat in the body. Like meat eaters and liquor, those who consume liquor. So much heat it generates in the body. So, for them, this cold country is very nice. Cold weather. When they come to India, little, not even, I'm not talking of peak summer, little warm climate. I can't tolerate this heat. Why? Because their body is very, very hot. And people like me, my body is so cold. India, very pleasant. Come to America, little cold. California, hardly any cold is there. Cold, cold, cold. Wearing some 3-4 layers and still feeling cold. So, what I mean to say is, this is example of relative. All material conditions are relative to the living entity's situation, their mind. Somebody whose mind is very disturbed, little noise they can't tolerate. Little disturbance they can't tolerate. Somebody whose mind is very calm and sober, even the very, very big disturbance, calamity, they will not be disturbed so much. So it's all relative. In the material world, everything is relatively situated. In the spiritual world, it's called the absolute world. There is no relativity. Everybody is happy. And there is no distress at all. There is no dvandva. Here, dvandva creates so much of disparity, no? Somebody is poor, somebody is rich, somebody is old, somebody is young, somebody is having suffering pain, somebody is enjoying pleasures. The whole material world is filled with this dvandva. Somebody likes coffee, somebody likes tea. So like this, dvandva, dvandva, dvandva. And nirdvandva, the spiritual platform, spiritual existence, spiritual world, nirdvandva. No dvandva. Like here, there is always material happiness means there has to be material distress. If there is warm weather, there has to be cold weather. Seasonal changes, correct? Like that, spiritual world, Prabhupada describes, Vrindavan, example, when Krishna was present. Even in summer, it is like spring. Winter, it's not very cold, it's very pleasant. Summer, it's not very hot, it is pleasant. So that is called spiritual world, nirdvandva. Spiritual happiness, there is no corresponding spiritual distress. There is nothing like spiritual distress.
Therefore, pure transcendental bliss, it's described in the scriptures. Spiritual existence means pure transcendental bliss. So, Shaunaka Rishi and the sages, because they are all practicing, and some of them are even realized souls. So they know how to live in this material world without being too much disturbed by different conditions, different situations. But they are concerned about the common people who are suffering due to so many different changing circumstances, especially in Kali Yuga. So they have assembled to find remedial measures, and Sutta Goswami is now going to suggest remedial measures for these people. And now Shaunaka Rishi, he is congratulating Sutta Goswami that Sutta Goswami has decided to narrate the Bhagavatam. He is very, very happy. So Prabhupada describes the qualifications of the congratulator in an assembly of learned men, meeting of learned men. Here 3 qualifications are mentioned: elderly, learned, leader of the assembly. So from this we can understand, in a civilized society, we have to offer respect to somebody who is elder to us. The younger ones should offer respects to the elders. So the first consideration for being elderly is somebody is older by age. The second consideration is not just the age, but we should also take into consideration a person who is in a different position, like a leader and followers. So the followers should offer respect to the leader, even if the leader is younger than the followers. It's like a citizen should offer respect to the king, even if the citizen is an old man and the king is a young person. Still, the citizen should offer respect to the king. The criterion of elders should be respected by the younger ones is overridden by position. So first consideration is age, overriding that is position. Position of higher responsibility, position of higher grade in the hierarchy of things, correct? Then the third consideration is how learned a person is. Of course, learning here refers to spiritual knowledge, but in general, still, even in material knowledge. So, a learned person is to be respected, is to be offered respects by those who are not learned. The student should always offer respects to the teacher. That's why in Vedic society, Brahmanas are supposed to be the most learned among all classes of people. So everyone offers respects to the Brahmana, those who are not Brahmanas. But among the other three classes, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, Shudras have to offer respect to Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, Brahmanas. Vaishyas offer respect to Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. Whereas even Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Shudras all have to offer respect to the Brahmana. Because Brahmanas are more learned. In that case, it doesn't matter, like the king. He's the leader of all the citizens. But if the citizen happened to be a Brahmana, king will offer him respect. King will offer him respect. Irrespective of the age of the Brahmana, irrespective of the position of the Brahmana. Simply because he learned, he has to offer respect. So third criterion. The fourth criterion, that's not mentioned here. Here, elderly, learned, leader. Leader is position. Elderly is age. And learned is learning. Okay? Knowledge. There's a fourth criterion which overrides all these three. That is described in the 19th chapter of the first canto. Shukadeva Goswami walked into the assembly of great personalities, including Parikshit Maharaj. And then everybody stood up in respect for him. Now, the description is there in the 19th chapter. Shukadeva Goswami is 16 years old, so young, and most of the people assembled there were much older by age. Still they stood up to offer respect because of his other qualifications. Then as far as position is concerned, he was appearing to be belonging to no particular varna, no particular ashrama, he was just roaming around naked, like a madman. So he has no social position. He doesn't follow social etiquette. So in terms of the position, he is the lowest position. No particular social position. He is without any position. But still, they all stood up to offer respect. Others are all Brahmarshis, Rajarshis, Devarishis, Arunodayas. So many categories of great personalities from all over the universe they have come. They all stood up. Even though he didn't belong to any particular social classification, any particular social position, nothing. No position, no this thing, not even dressed. Not even dressed, simply running naked. Okay. So, no question of position. Still they stood up. Why? Okay, I'm coming to the fourth criterion. The third one, learning. What education will he have? His hair is all disheveled. He has not taken bath. He is surrounded by urchins. This useless vagabonds. They simply roam around throwing stones and picking something, not interested in any going to any Gurukul or doing any meaningful activity. Some foolish people are surrounding him and laughing at him, giggling at him. Madman, madman. So no learning, nothing. And it's also described, as soon as he was born, he went away from home before Vyasadeva could do any samskara, could teach him something, some basics. He walked away from home and simply wandering like a madman. No education, no training, no proper dress, no samskara, no culture. And this person is respected by everybody. So that is the fourth one, is spiritual advancement. He is the most exalted transcendence of his time. And how could anybody make out that? Among the assembled saintly persons, some of them could read the face. They were face readers. Looking at the face, they could recognize. It's time up. Okay, I'll end with this. They could recognize he is very, 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 very advanced. They could read his mind. He is roaming around, disinterested in anything external, because he's fully absorbed in meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He's totally spiritually absorbed. They could make out. So, it is described in the 19th chapter. So when they stood up, others are looking, oh, this is a Avadhuta. Such a person is called Avadhuta. So he is an Avadhuta, not an ordinary person. Externally you can't make out. Those who can read the mind. So few stood up, who could read the mind, everybody else stood up. Oh, it's a great personality. So, spiritual advancement overrides learning, position, and age. It overrides all the three. That's why in spiritual circles, sannyasi is given respect by everybody. Everybody. Irrespective of sannyasi's age, sannyasi's learning, sannyasi's position, everybody offers respect. Because he is supposed to be more spiritually advanced than the brahmacharis, grihasthas, vanaprasthas, more advanced spiritually than the brahmanas or the different Brahma Rishi, Raja Rishi, the sages. Different qualifications they have. The mystic yogis, the tapasvis, he is more advanced than them spiritually. So sannyasi is offered respect by everybody. Like that. So this is the fourth criterion that's not mentioned here. I just mentioned that. So I'll stop here. Rantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.